Well, to get the government's explanation of the strategy, let's go to Stockholm now to speak to our reporter Per Beaufort Nyberg, who is with the Swedish Finance Minister now. Per, over to you.
Thank you very much, Rosie. Well, basically, I'm standing here with Magdalena Andersson, who is the Swedish Minister for Finance, and she's just given us a press briefing about the state of the Swedish economy. Magdalena, tell us, what is the state of the Swedish economy as we're sort of in the middle of this coronavirus pandemic?
Well, we're very much hit by the pandemic, as other countries, and my best forecast right now is that we will have a fall in GDP growth this year by 7 percentage points.
Now, the Swedish economy is obviously heavily impacted by exports. If we're looking at 50% of GDP being dependent on export, how much of a hit is the Swedish economy taking because this is a global issue?
Well, of course, we have very much this, both according to how Swedes behave, we consume less, but of course we're very much affected by lockdowns and in other countries, but also if there's a more long-term fall in world economy, of course this will affect a country that exports lots of trucks and cars, for instance.
Now, could you have done more? I mean, there are some critics who say that the Swedish government should have done more and sooner.
What we have had, the crisis packages that we've had to support our economy are the largest and the quickest that any government in Sweden has ever done. And together now we have crisis packages that is around 5% of GDP. So of course this is very big.
Looking at unemployment, Sweden went into the coronavirus pandemic with what you mentioned was the highest employment rate in the EU, and still we're seeing almost rampant unemployment with record numbers of layoff notices, much higher than normal. What's your assessment of that?
Well, of course, we are taking a big hit, but also we do have rather high unemployment numbers, particularly compared to our very high employment numbers. That's because our labor supply is incredibly high, actually, in Sweden. I think that's good also if you want to restart the economy. It's good to have a high labor supply, and it's something I hope from this crisis is that will not go down too much.
Now, obviously, over the weekend, we heard about this new new proposal from the Frugal Four, as they're called, Sweden, Denmark, Austria, and the Netherlands, where you counter-propose this proposal from Germany and France when it comes to this EU rescue fund for the recovery. Why are you not in agreement with Germany and France for this recovery fund?
Well, I mean, from our perspective, of course, we see that the European Union has a role to play in order to restart the European economy, but the recovery fund has to be realistic, both when it comes to size, timing, but also under what conditions that we can support each other. But I think maybe even more important than that is for any recovery of the European economy, would you have to have a fully functioning internal market again? That would be the #1 driver for recovery of the European economy.
But we've heard from countries like Spain saying that Spain and Italy, they just couldn't do another sort of loan where they have to repay the money. They need this grant for the 500 billion rescue fund. Why are you not supporting these countries?
Well, I mean, we are supporting those countries, and we have supported them quite a lot. And we are one of the largest net contributor to the European budget. And of course, we will continue to support these countries, but also other countries in need. But we think there has to be realistic, both when it comes to size, timing, and conditions.
Ursula von der Leyen wants to present her paper on Wednesday. How big of a split is it now within the European countries?
Well, I mean, so far we have had very good cooperation between, for instance, the ministers of finance, and we have very quickly agreed on bold measures when it comes to support short-term work, but also when it comes to the EIB's possibilities to support small business and industries with financial assets.
Magdalena Andersson, Swedish Finance Minister, thank you so much for joining us here on Euronews, and back to you, Rosie.